did Shaul go to arrest the early believers? In synagogues on the Sabbath. Where are the footnotes in this book? Where are the footnotes? Go to the internet dictionaries and encyclopedias for verification of the facts written in this book. Go on. Now the 5th month. This month was dedicated to Julius Caesar, the first emperor. He was honoured as a deity, son of the sun. Now the 6th month, August. This word is Latin, meaning venerable, magnificent, awesome. Gaius Octavius took the name Augustus Caesar after becoming emperor and had his name used for this month. He did this to honour himself, as Julius had done before. The 7th month, September. This is the Latin word for the number 7, septem. Now things will begin to make sense a little bit, but hang on. The 8th month, October. This is the Latin word octo, ber, 8th month, from octo meaning 8. Now the 9th month, November. This month was Novembris, from the Latin word novum meaning 9. Now the 10th month, December, Latin, Decembris, from the number decim, 10. We get the word decimal from the Latin also. All these months are shifted by 2 now, as you know. Even though we are saying December, the Latin for 10, we number it the 12th moon. Rather than correcting this, we just keep it up. Not only that, but the whole beginning point is based on the rebirth of the sun. According to the writings, scripture, we are to begin our counting of the moons in the spring, passing the equinox, Tekufa, and Tekufa, circuit. Winter must be over before the first moon of the year can begin. So the spring equinox has to arrive when the sun crosses the equatorial region. Then watching for the next new moon. The Creator has spoken, but man's kingdoms ignore him. Speaking to the converts at Galatia, Paul mentions, you are observing special days and months and seasons and years. And that's in Galatians 4 verse 10. The Galatians were once pagan, enslaved in the weak, miserable principles, turning back to that which was based in what was their heathen, Babylonian mythology. You must read this in context, because your footnotes will lead you to think Paul was speaking about Sabbaths and the way the Creator established our watch in the skies. He said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark seasons and days and years. And that's in Genesis 1:14. It is written, this month is to be for you the first month of the year, in Exodus 12 verse 2. He had to tell them because they had been captive as slaves for over 400 years and were now called out.
January
and
February.
With only 10 months in the Roman year, the seasons were appearing later and later every year. Julius Caesar began hearing many complaints, so he appointed an Alexandrian astrologer named Sosigenes to devise the needed corrections. Sosigenes added the 2 months of
January
and
February
to the year 46 BCE, and it was called the Year of Confusion. He even set up the cycle of leap years, which added a day to the month of
February
every 4 years.
January
Is named for the domestic deity
Janus,
who was the ruler of beginnings and protected doorways, gates, and arches. You will recall processions through great arches when ancient kings would
march
their armies in triumphant display.
February
Was named for the female idol.
February
The authority to proclaim new moons and change the system resided with the Caesar. his seat of power ruled, and he was the priest of
Genus.
The Roman title Pontifex Maximus is Etruscan, bestowed on Caesar as the pagan head of the Pontifical College of Priests of
Genus.
the Cardinals. Cardinal is Latin, cardo, meaning hinge. They assisted the priest of
Genus.
in opening the door to the Elysian fields, the pagan heaven. Pontifex Maximus means highest priest in Etruscan, so Caesar was the gateway to the afterlife for a Roman pagan. Julius Caesar's calendar is called the Julian Calendar. We now have the Gregorian calendar because the title Pontifex Maximus was inherited by the Roman Catholic popes. The authority of Caesar was transferred to this bishop, the Roman Catholic pope. He also kept his cardinals. This bishop of Rome also uses Caesar's title, Papa or Pope, a
Mithras.
title. In 1582, Pope Gregory implemented a 10-day adjustment to the calendar, designed by Sosigenes by wiping out 10 days for that year. This was obeyed by the Papal States, but the rest of the Western world remained on the former timetable. It was not until the time of Benjamin Franklin that the rest of society came into line with Rome. Up to then, landowners thought they would lose 10 days' rent, but Franklin convinced them they would actually be receiving their rent 10 days sooner by obliging the Pope. And so now we have the Gregorian calendar. This same Pope authorized what is known as Gregorian Chant. These chants stem directly from pagan monks' hymns, originally called hymns or the hymns of. He simply sanctified the pagan hymns. Nimrod years. The pagan priests were astrologers who closely monitored the positions of the sun, moon, 5 of the planets, and constellations of stars. These were the physical deities they worshipped, and they modelled time over their year based on sex. They knew the path of the sun crossed the celestial equator at the vernal and autumnal equinoxes, producing equal days and nights at those events. So who's Nimrod? He was the first king on the earth, the grandson of Ham. See Genesis 10. His secular name is suspected to be Sargon I, and he built Babylon and Nineveh. It was possibly Nimrod who built the Tower of Babel, a ziggurat made of bricks. The ruins still exist. Nimrod was a tyrant, and that is what his name means. He was a mighty hunter before Yahuwah, and the word before means against in Hebrew, if you check a concordance. Nimrod turned the people against the truth and began the worship of the sky luminaries. Children were sacrificed in exchange for prosperity. He wore a headpiece with a horn in front as ruler, a symbol of power and authority. In fact, all crowns that are modelled with horns are based on this design. The marauding heathens of Genghis Khan and the Vikings of the north wore horned hats and helmets in their wars. Nimrod's idolatry and ruthlessness caused his uncle Shem to destroy him, cutting his body into parts and distributing them around the kingdom. It is said Nimrod took his mother, Semiramis, as a wife. At his death, his wife/mother consoled the people of Sumer by saying she carried Nimrod's child and named him Tammuz. Nimrod, she explained, had gone into the heavens and was now the sun. So the sun was the father and the earth was now the mother. Semiramis was, in effect, a deity representing the earth. Ish is Hebrew for man, and she was worshipped as Babylonian pillars, obelisks, represented the generative powers of the man, and were simultaneously images of the phallus, Nimrod, and a sun ray. Fertility rituals such as
May,
pole dances are still seen today.
Ishtar,
Is the same word we have today in
Easter,
which superseded Passover. It's Nimrod's mother, also known around the world as
Asherah,
and many others. The Canaanites called their shrines to the Earth Mother
Asherah,